and welcome back to my podcast, Esme's Country Life. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about cows a lot. For some reason, this week, I've come across a lot of cows. The animals, not the people. Anyway, and then also in today's podcast episode, I'm going to be talking about surviving life without Wi-Fi. It's been a tough week. And also about me getting a little bit overly competitive playing some games. But anyway, before we begin, I just want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of the podcast, Red Post. Red Post is an equestrian and country store based in the UK, and they also ship all over the world. And you would know, if you're a regular listener of the podcast, that last week, or at the time of recording this, a few days ago, I was actually at Red Post doing a meet and greet. That was where I got a bit over competitive with the game, so we'll talk about that later on, don't you worry. But the new Lemure Autumn-Winter collection is now out, and I've had lots of people that live outside the UK being like, Esme, I really want to get my hands on the new Lemure collection, but they don't sell it in my country. Do you know where they do? Red Post Equestrian. And do you know what they have? International shipping. So if you want to get your hands on it, be sure to go to redpostequestrian.co.uk. So thank you so much, Red Post, for sponsoring the podcast. Don't worry, there's going to be another little Red Post section where I'm going to be talking about my trip there, because a lot went down. A lot of milkshakes went down as well. But anyway, let's get started on, what I've been up to this week. So, started off, had a lovely time because my brother, he has now moved back. So I've basically just been annoying him. I feel like it's every sister's duty to annoy their siblings. So anyway, he's been back, so that's been really good fun, because whenever he goes away, I do feel like a little bit like an only child. I know, like, I'm an adult and I've moved out and that kind of thing, but a lot of the time I'm having lunch and it's just like me, my mum, my dad, that kind of thing. But he's back now. I remember when he first moved out, it was really sad because whenever I would set the table, I'd always set an extra place and then I'd have to put all the cutlery away because he wasn't there. And it just, like, for a while, it just felt like he was upstairs in his bedroom and he was there, but he wasn't. But anyway, he is now back. He has now moved in. So my mum and dad's house is just like an absolute mess at the moment because he's got all of his stuff from his, like, apartment and things. Because anyway, he's got one more year of uni, so it won't be long until he's gone again, which is sad. But I'm enjoying having him around for the rest of the summer. So we've had a lot of family time, which has been very wholesome, very lovely. So the other day we actually went for a really nice evening walk. Now I love a walk. Take me anywhere. I love a little mooch about, a little walkabout. So if it's in the countryside, if it's in a town, in a city, I mean, when it's in a city or a town, it is quite fun, people watching as well. But anyway, we went for a lovely, wholesome walk around the village as the sun was setting, was so pretty. And in our village, there are actually quite a lot of cows. Now, there is this one field where we were talking to the farmer the other day, actually, and I think these cows were hand-reared. So when they see humans, they think friends, and they also think food. So anyway, we were near the end of our walk. It was that beautiful kind of like twilight hour where it was starting to get a little bit darker. And we walked into the field and my mum was like, oh, just be careful, because apparently these cows are very friendly. So I was like, oh, yay, friends. Yay, cow friends. So anyway, I actually did a little video on my phone. But anyway, there were probably like 30, 40 cows. And they came running over to us. And I was so excited. I was like, yay, cows. Like, hey, friends. Like, hey, besties. And then, now, if you didn't know, if you have cows running at you, most people's natural instinct is to run away from the cows. Now, that is the worst possible thing you could do, because cows, they are basically like big dogs. They are like big puppies. If they see somebody running, they think, oh, this is fun. I'm going to run after you. So that's why a lot of people often, if they don't know, like proper like townies, I mean, this is Esme's Country Life. I'm a country girl through and through. I know how to deal with cows. A lot of the time, people run away and then they get trampled by the cows. So what you have to do when cows run up to you is you just run up to them. You're like, hey, besties, I'm running up at you. And then they go, whoa, there's a human running at me. I'm going to step back. Or you just make yourself big and put your arms out and you go, hey, cows, get out of my personal space. Get out of my bubble. Anyway, so then there was my dad, who was not very, let's just say, he disrupted the wholesomeness of our lovely family walk, because he was shouting at these cows like, get away. Some not so family friendly words were said to these poor cows, and I was like, no, they're my besties. But no, to be fair, you do not want a load of cows charging at you and running you over, especially as if they're anything like Joey. Joey does not know where his legs are, my horse. He's not very good with personal space either. Maybe it's a cuddly gelding thing. I know that there's the kind of stereotype of geldings not really knowing personal space and being very cuddly, but anyway, so that was cow story number 1 for you. But they were so sweet, they were so cute, and honestly made my day seeing the little guys. I love cows. I don't know, I have a special place in my heart for cows. But anyway, so then after our lovely day, got a lot done that day, was super productive, rode the horses, got a lot of work done, that kind of thing, had my nice little evening. I was like, oh, what a perfect day. Go back home and my Wi-Fi's not working. And I know this is very much like there are greater problems in the world, but it made me realise how reliant we are on Wi-Fi, especially as this is Esme's Country Life, living in the countryside in the middle of nowhere. Where I live, I have no signal. And I kind of realised, wow, in the 21st century, this is kind of dangerous because, yeah, not only did I have no internet, but it also meant that I couldn't ring anyone up. I couldn't, text anyone if I had an emergency. I would just have to scream for my neighbour next door and hope for the best, you know what I mean? So as someone living on their own, it was a little, not scary, but it kind of made me think, goodness me, how did people survive before the internet and all that kind of stuff? But the good news is that I have managed to figure out there is one place in my house that I get a tiny bit of 4G. And do you know where that is? Right outside my doorstep. So every evening to try and send texts to my friends and just update my parents on my life. I don't know, just when you're talking to someone, you don't want to seem like you're ignoring someone. So what did I do? Every hour I went outside, sat on my doorstep, and all my notifications would come through. Sometimes no notifications would come through because I am really not that popular, but and then I would send my little text. And do you know what it felt like? I felt like, just putting it out there, have never smoked, never vaped. It's not good for you. Do not do that. But I felt like a smoker because I had to go outside and get my hit of internet. And I was sitting out in the cold, in the dark. And my neighbour was doing the same thing as well. So every now and again I'd pop out and be like, oh, hey, how you doing? Just getting my little bit of internet while I can. And also, so I basically had a whole week of no internet. Also, I was not cheeky, but at first I thought, maybe my Wi-Fi box or whatever isn't working, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna have to message BT and do all the faff of customer service and someone coming out and fixing it or sending me a new one. I was like, when just something goes wrong and you're like, I just don't have time for this. I got more important things to be doing in my life. But anyway, went over to my neighbour because I thought, you never know. Could go and ask him, maybe if his Wi-Fi is working, I could be like, hey, can I be really cheeky and connect to your Wi-Fi just so I can message someone in case of an emergency. Went over to him and he was like, nah, mate, my Wi-Fi is not working either. So anyway, my whole kind of all of my neighbours in my little area, in our little woods that we live in, none of them had Wi-Fi or internet either. So we were all in this together. Do you know what I found? That the kids that lived down the road, I was thinking, cool, they were out late playing in the woods, and then I realised, it's because there's no internet. They can't be going on their iPads or watching YouTube or whatever. So I was like, this back in the, not that I was alive in the 90s, but back in the day. Anyway, so I basically spent the whole week in my evenings either going to the gym, because my gym had Wi-Fi, so I just went on the treadmill and watched Netflix or whatever on my phone, or I did a lot of reading, which I do anyway. I mean, I do try to be very good that when I go to the cottage, I put my focus on my phone and I turn off all kind of work emails. I don't go on social media, but there were little things, little home comforts, which I am quite good at having downloaded music on my phone just because I'm very lucky to do a lot of travel with my job. And a lot of times when you're traveling, you don't have internet connection. But the one thing that, do you know what has been my new favourite obsession lately? My dad was absolutely, he was just, taking the mick out of me for absolutely loving. My favourite thing is listening to Animal Crossing music while I just like do day-to-day tasks, because it just makes everything seem a little bit more whimsical. Do you know what I mean? Like I saw a trend online, and it was like, these are things that I do to make my life seem more whimsical, more special, more just like fun. And I just listen to my little it's just really relaxing music, because sometimes you want to listen to music and it doesn't have words in. It's just like you're chilling or you're zoning out. I quite like listening to it when I'm scrapbooking as well, because being dyslexic, when I'm writing things and I'm listening to music that has words in, then I start writing the words in the music lyrics. I don't know if anybody else does that, so I quite like listening to music without lyrics sometimes. But anyway, we'll get more onto that later on. But yeah, I had luckily my Wi-Fi came back, all was well. Could watch TV again. Actually, I was quite good. I would come into work every day with my iPad. I would download all of my shows on Netflix onto my iPad. So I managed to survive pretty well without Wi-Fi. It was just sad that, in an emergency, probably not great. But anyway, so that has been my week, really. Well, not really. I've got more to update you on, but that has been my week without Wi-Fi. That's what I've gone up to. But yeah, luckily it was lovely weather, so I spent a lot of time in the garden anyway and reading, and I actually made me realise, you know what? I don't use internet at home as much as I need. So anyway, it's definitely stopped me not that I try not to do that, but it stopped me scrolling. I feel like we all have those little evenings where we're like, I just go on for 10 minutes and then 10 hours later you're still scrolling. But anyway, talking of reading and books and that kind of thing, I have had so many people ask me, because now I've done my Red Post meet and greet, I can tell you about all my other ones that I'm going to be doing. So I'm actually doing a book tour in the month of, pretty much the whole month of October, for book 4 of the Starlight Stables Gang, which is all about Daniel, which is very exciting. I'm also coming to Ireland as well, so I'm going to Belfast, I'm going to Dublin, I'm going to the Eastlands in Dublin, which is very cool, because a lot of famous people have actually done book tours there, and they have like a little green room that you can go into, and it has like loads of famous names and people that have signed like this wall, so I'm excited to go back. I'm pretty sure I've signed that wall, but anyway, that's my claim to fame. Anyway, and also I'm going to the Bath Literary Festival, which should be really good fun. Me and my co-author Jo were actually doing a little chat on stage, and then we're going to be doing a book signing afterwards. So be sure to come to that one, because that is always really good fun. And then I'm also going to be at the Cambridge Waterstones, the Blue Water Waterstones, and lots of other bits and bobs as well. So if you want more information about that, go to my website, thisesme.com. But yeah, my horse Joey, actually, let's go on to the next thing. Next topic. My horse Joey, he has had a busy week this week. Now, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you might know that Joey, bless him, he's not had loading issues. He just takes a little while sometimes to go into the horse box, and I think that's because he had a phase where he would injure himself a lot and he had to go to hospital a lot, and I think, bless him, he thinks when he goes in the horse box he's going to hospital, which, fair enough. I don't like going to hospital either. So we've been working on his loading, and he has been such a good boy. The other day he literally pretty much loaded first time, because basically we're trying to get his loading confidence up, because we want him to, take him to lots of fun places, and him to think going in the horse box means lovely food, lovely positive experience, lots of attention, because that boy loves attention. But also just, taking him to fun places, doing fun things. So we've been doing lots of loading practice with him, and he has got so good now. And we find with him, we just have to get lots of snacks, make it a really happy place. And he just kind of waltzes on in now, which is lovely. Things that helped him the most was high reward treats, so apples. That worked really well, and I found that when he was so distracted by the food, we could just push his bum in and then he was in, which was fine. But if he wasn't super distracted by the food, actually there was one time, I'll tell you this later, but on our way home actually from one of our trips, he actually fell asleep. He was standing half in, half out, pretty much almost asleep. We had to keep waking him up, and then he got distracted by the food and then he went in fine. But anyway, so yes. So yeah, first big trip we did out was to the hills, and we had so much fun there, because we thought we want to do a big ride that kind of tires him out a little bit. Now, we've taken him to the hills so many times now. I mean, I've had him in March, it'll be 6 years, which is absolutely wild. That is I don't like that. I mean, I do like it because I love that. I've had him for so long, but also like I can't believe it's been that long. Time is going by so quickly. But anyway, took him to the hills, and that was so funny. The first couple of times we took him to the hills, he would be so excited when we first got there. Like as soon as we got him out there for a leg stretch, he would like be wanting to canter, wanting to gallop. We'd be like, let's go guys, let's go. Well, now, because we've taken him so many times and he knows that route that we normally take, it's a bit of an endurance one. I think it's about 9k, so it's a long ride. So this time he knew from the get-go, he was like, I need to save my energy. I need to be prepared for this endurance ride. And bless him, he was so good. He was so good to be tacked up, so good to, especially as you guys know, we haven't taken him out that much this kind of spring, summer because of injuries, all that kind of stuff. But now he's back. He's feeling amazing. He's feeling so good. And he was just ears forward the whole way, smiling the whole way. I also find it super cute because he loves looking at, Joey is such a nosy horse. He loves looking at the view. If there's somebody there, he loves to stare at them. When we just like hack around the village, he loves to look over people's hedges and look at their garden. Like, he is so funny, bless him. But no, we had so much fun. And then this is my second cow story for you, because we went in, there's not one paddock or field of cows, but there's 2 fields of cows on this particular route that we do. So it was actually one of the first fields that we went in. There were so many cows. I want to say like 50 cows. A lot of them were lying down. There were a lot of mothers and babies as well, which sometimes you have to be a little bit extra cautious of, because we all know that mothers are very protective of their babies. I mean, I'm protective of my 4-legged children, my horses. Like, if anybody's getting near them, I'm like, whoa, what are you doing to my horse? Anyway, so we're riding along, and Joey, bless him, he was like a little bit, he's seen cows before, but every time he's just a bit confused, because he's like, you're horse sized and you have legs like a horse, you have 4 legs as well, but you're not a horse. You're like a wide horse. I mean, he goes out in a paddock with Casper, so Casper's a bit of a wide horse anyway. Bless him, sorry, that's really mean. But Casper, like, he does get a tiny bit chunkier in the summer with the fresh grass. But don't worry, he'll be looking slim thick again back in the winter once the weather's a bit colder. But anyway, so yes, so it's so funny because he's like very cautious of them, but he's also very friendly at the same time. So he's like, I want to be friends, but I'm not sure. I want to be friends, but I don't know who you are. It's kind of like a weird, like, stranger danger, but I want to be BFFs at the same time. So bless him, the whole time he was like looking at them, and there was one bit where my dad got a little bit further ahead and he had to like kind of go round this cow, and Joey was like, where do I go? Do I go towards like my dad, or do I go towards the cows? Or like, bless him, he was such a good boy. He has been horse of the week this week. So a lot of the question I get most asked at all of my meet and greets and everything is, Esme, who is your favourite horse? And I don't have a favourite horse. I love them all the same, but we do horse of the week, and this week Joey was definitely horse of the week. He was so well behaved. And then we came into another paddock of cows, and my dad actually had to move these cows out of the way for us to get through this gate, because to the way the bridle path kind of went, you had to go through this gate to get to the next field. So anyway, my dad very kindly cleared all of these cows out, which actually, it's probably quite good that I've been doing some cow practice with Joey, because that brings us on to our next trip. So actually the day after that, back to back, Joey had 2 days out. So he's had a busy week. We actually went and had our first ever, like, we've had a little bit of a working equitation lesson before, which was more of a dressage lesson. We did a few working equitation, I don't know if it's like movements, activities, kind of things. Anyway, but we actually did a lesson where they had all the proper equipment, all the proper stuff. Now, working equitation, if you don't know, it is an equestrian discipline that I'm pretty sure originates from Portugal, and I would describe it as dressage with a purpose. So you do sort of dressage moves like rein back, leg yielding, turn on, like all the like kind of like more fancier technical moves, but you often do it with some sort of equipment. So for example, you do turn on a forehand, which is where you kind of like make your horse move their back legs, like their front legs kind of stay still, but their back legs kind of move around like a quarter. That's really difficult to explain. I'm sorry, I'm not the best at explaining things, but you do that with a gate to open a gate. Or you do one where you walk into like a little channel and you ring a bell, and then you have to do rein back, which is where you get your horse to walk backwards, which I'm not gonna lie, that one, it was probably the one that we were worst at, because for some reason Joey, when he walks backwards, he quite likes to walk backwards wonky, which isn't great because you have kind of a channel and we would often like step on the pole or knock the pole. So we've got some work to do. The first one we actually did was you kind of had like a mock fake pen, and often in like the high level competitions there's actually like, I think, a cow or some calves or maybe even a bull, I'm not sure, I want to say some baby cows, some calves in the middle, and you have to kind of like walk around the pen, but you have to make your horse kind of like look at the cow when you walk in. So it was like really it looked probably really boring on video, so I don't know if my dad even filmed that part, but we did like film quite a bit of it, and hopefully I will have a whole working equitation YouTube video coming out soon, because honestly Joey had so much fun. He is a horse that has a very busy brain, and doing activities like that, he just absolutely loved. He had a smile on his face the whole time. He was so chilled to be somewhere completely new that he'd never been to before, because sometimes, bless him, he can be like a little bit nervous, especially with all the vet trips that he's done. He's like, where are you taking me? Where am I? Like, it must be, when you think about it, quite a strange thing for a horse to, you know, walk into a metal box that travels you somewhere magical, and you don't know where you're going until you get off, and then when you get there and then you have to investigate this new foreign land that you've landed in. So it goes to show how much trust horses have in their humans. But anyway, he was such a good boy, had so much fun. And then another one that we did was kind of going in and out of cones, and that Joey was really good at as well. But you had to try and like, the best way I can describe it is, I didn't realize the first time that I did it, because obviously this is a whole new thing for me as well. So not only am I teaching a horse a new discipline, I'm also being taught by the instructor a new discipline as well. So I was very used to being like kind of mounted game style, like proper weaving and bending, when actually when you go in and out the cones, you have to try and keep your horse as straight as possible. So that was really interesting. He was very good at that one. The one that I wasn't so good at, which I think part of it is because Joey is actually a very big horse. Often with working equitation, you want a horse that's a little bit smaller. So Joey, if you didn't know, he's about 16'1", 16'2" hands. So he's not tiny. That's all I'm going to say. So for this next one, you have is it called a farrow? I want to say it's like basically a big broomstick that it's more fancy than a broomstick, but that's what I was using in today's one. It's this big broomstick, and you have to pick it up, and you have to pick it up in a certain way, and then you have to, there's like often like a little, is it called a quoit? Basically like a donut shaped dog toy. I think it was actually a dog toy that we were using. So obviously this was at a clinic, so it was a lady who managed to fit everything in her car. So a lot of the stuff was a bit more makeshift, but you could do all the activities with it. Like, it was very, very good. So I went along with my big broomstick. This is, anyone who does working equitation is gonna be like, Esme, this is not the correct terminology. This is not the correct stuff. But you know what? I'm explaining it in Esme language for our audio listeners, so they can hopefully understand what I'm talking about. But anyway, it's called a vara, I'm pretty sure, the big broomstick. So anyway, you have your vara, and you ride along, you have to pick it up. I was doing this all in trot, and also you have to do it all in one pace as well. Like, at the really high levels, they do it all in canter, and they do it one-handed. I'm not quite at that stage yet. But anyway, so I was trying to do everything in trot. So obviously they have different levels in working equitation as well. So you have your walk and trot ones, you have your trot ones, you have your trot and canter ones, you have your canter ones, and then you have your canter one-handed. And then you have like all your funky moves as well. But anyway, so I picked up my vara, then went... So normally it's like a fake bull that they have. So my dad is like, okay, Esme, we need to have like this Esme DIY episode where I'm making all the working equitation equipment, somehow making like a big bull as well. Because sometimes horses, if they're a bit spooky, you know, a big fake bull, like jump wing, it's not really a jump wing, but you know what I mean? That kind of sized thing. That could be a little bit scary. I mean, I think Casper would definitely give it a side eye. Joey, on the other hand, he is actually a very brave horse. So he was brilliant with all the equipment, took everything in his stride, even the bell and all the rattly things, like he was brilliant at. But the thing that I struggled with, because Joey is that bit higher up, I had to really tip the kind of vara down to hoop up my little circle dog toy thing, and then you have to put it into a barrel at the other end, and you have to try and do everything very elegantly, very quietly. You don't want to be bull in a china shop, which is very much me, and just bash the Vara into the barrel. You have to be very elegant and like put it in very gently, like everything is effortless. There was also another one that you went to where you'd have to like trot on in and then halt in between these two posts, and then you would pick up a cup and then put it on the other side. So it's a little bit like, I would describe it as mounted games crossed with dressage. So if you like those two disciplines, would definitely recommend trying it. And my instructor was like, go, we can get you to championships. We can get you, like, because it's obviously quite a small sport. And I was like, oh, we will see. I'm, not the biggest person when it comes to competition and stuff. I quite like doing my own thing, but you never know. Maybe in 1 year's time, I'll be recording a podcast episode talking about how well Joey's doing at working equitation. We will see. But we had a lot of fun, so I would definitely love to do some more working equitation clinics with him. I'm trying to think of some of the other, I think they were the main ones that we did. He was very good with the gait, actually, which apparently is one that a lot of horses can struggle with, especially bigger horses as well, because there's a lot to Joey. He's quite long, so making sure that I was standing in the correct place. The one thing that I do think that we need to work on, though, is Joey is not the best at standing square, and quite a lot of the movements, kind of a bit like dressage, it's kind of like out of 10, I'm pretty sure you get each movement ranked, but also part of the movement is doing transitions as well. So luckily, I'd say some of our transitions, they're not bad. We're working on them. We're not perfect. But yeah, just like little things like going from your trot down to your walk and then down to your halt, and then like after you've done the kind of activity, you have to go back into trot. Obviously, higher levels, you go back into canter, or you pretty much canter the whole thing. Do that as well. So yeah, it was really, really interesting. And again, a great discipline for Joey because it kept his brain so busy. I had a lot of fun as well. And it's one of those things where it's super satisfying because I would do the activity and I could kind of be like, oh, I could do that part better, or I could do that part better. And then I just want to go round and do it again and do it better the next time. And I think that's kind of what it's all about, really. It's not about being the best. It's just being better than you were before and having that improvement and seeing things kind of click together. So if you're ever thinking about trying working equitation, would definitely recommend, because yeah, you really do have to have that relationship with that horse and kind of be on the same page and work together as a team. I mean, a lot of equestrian disciplines are like that as well, but I don't know, it was just really, really lovely to see, and Joey had so much fun doing it as well. And that's the main thing with me and my horses. Like, I want to do what my horses enjoy. If my horse doesn't enjoy something, then you're not going to enjoy it either. So anyway, we will see. I'll keep you updated on our kind of working equitation journey. And then that afternoon, I had a busy old day, because that afternoon it was then time to drive to Devon to Red Post Equestrian for my meet and greet, which I just want to say a huge thank you to every single one of you that came to my meet and greet. I had so much fun. You were all so lovely, and so many of you made me drawings or got me flowers, which was so sweet. You really shouldn't have, but yeah, whenever I do meet and greets, there are so many of you that are such talented artists as well. I actually have a scrapbook, and all of my like favorite pieces of artwork I actually stick into this scrapbook. So because I want to keep everything, and I don't know how, like I would love to do this for as long as I possibly can, but like everything, not everything lasts forever. So like one day I'll be 80 or whatever, and I'll be looking through my scrapbook at artwork from the good old 20s, like back in the day and that kind of thing. I don't know, but the team at Red Post are also always so lovely as well, and it's kind of like a nice little yearly catch up with the team. And what was actually so sweet was the amount of people that have come along, like for the last like 3-4 years, because I've been doing meet and greets Red Post for like 4 or 5 years, I want to say. Anyway, but there were my kind of like younger audience. A lot of the parents were like, "Oh my gosh, you're taller than you were compared to Esme last year." So I've actually come to the conclusion that I am some people's like yearly measuring stick. So like parents were showing me pictures of their kids from like 2 years ago, and we can like kind of see them getting taller and taller. And sometimes people become taller than me. So there we go. If you want to know how tall I am, I'm about 5'5.5", 5'6". I think officially I'm 165 centimeters for my European friends that use centimeters, but there we go. So if you want to know how tall I am, that's what I am. Because some people, when they meet me in person, they say, "Oh, you're taller than I expected," or some people, they meet me in person, they say, "Oh, you're shorter than expected." Apparently quite a few people actually, Ben from Red Post was saying, heard that people were saying, cause obviously they're like listening in, making sure that I'm, I don't know, doing a good job, I don't know. But anyway, apparently people were saying how I sounded different in real life, which, I mean, we have some very good podcast studio audio microphones. So it can't be because we've got bad mics, but maybe I think it's because I've been doing social media for so long now. And obviously there are some videos of me online from when I was a child. So obviously, child Esme might sound a little bit different to Esme now. I don't know. Maybe it's that. Maybe just the frequencies of that YouTube puts out. I don't know. But I don't think I've ever had that before. But apparently, yeah, two lots of people said that I sounded different in real life compared to in person. So anyway, there we go. But no, it was honestly such a lovely, wholesome day. Also, at the beginning of the day, because that was a busy day. So what we normally do is we drive up the night before and we stay in the same hotel every year. And what's really funny is the lady at reception has been the same lady at reception for the last 4 years. And every time we drive up, my dad and I were just like, will it be the same lady? And it was the same lady this year, which she's kind of like our good omen. I don't know, she's like our little good luck charm, I don't know, but she does not know who we are, but because we were like, oh, you were here last year, she's like, yep, this is where I work, and we found it really exciting. She doesn't know how big of a character she is in our life, but anyway, I don't know if that sounds really weird, but it was a good time. But anyway, yeah, that day was a big day because got up at 5, had a 2-hour car journey, met the team at 8, filmed lots of TikToks for the Red Post social media, so go and check out their TikTok account if you would like to see me doing some very silly challenges. We did the one where, the kind of like viral trend where it's like, sorry, Esme's late, she's throwing a fit, which you haven't heard of that one. Basically, it's like, oh, like she's throwing a fit, and then actually it's because I got a cool outfit on, I had my Red Post t-shirt on, and I was like, okay, it's one of those, like, kind of, sometimes in life, you just have to go full beans, and I went full beans with that trend. I was doing like a proper, like, hair flick, sass, walking in, like, jacket over the shoulder, and then you can see me laughing afterwards, because you guys know me, I do not take myself seriously at all, especially with TikTok trends. So anyway, then me and Big Boss Ben, we did the TikTok trend where you press you guys know I have a love-hate relationship with TikTok. It's not my favorite platform. We love the podcast and YouTube, they're my favorite platforms. Oh, and Instagram as well. But anyway, we were doing a thing where basically it's a filter, and when you tap the screen, a letter pops up, and you have to try and find something with that letter. Now, I might have got a little bit over competitive with that one, because there might have been one stage where I knocked down one of the supplements on the supplement shelf. Luckily, it was a liquid one, and as soon as that fell, it was like slow motion. I was like, no, because I thought, oh my gosh, if that falls on the floor and it splits and the liquid goes everywhere, I could just picture it as it was slow-mo falling, like it's splitting, the liquid splashing up, and then it going on all the products, and then Red Post being like, Esme, you've destroyed our shop. But it was all good. It was in a high quality container, obviously, did not split, and I did win that challenge. So you know what? It was worth it. It was worth it. I'm trying to think what it was. I think it was like some aloe juice that I knocked over, because it was A, and I was trying to think what in a tack shop begins with A, and I just ran, because I was going to run over to the treats because I thought apple treats, and then I saw the aloe juice. So I was like, I'll just grab that. I don't even know what that is, but obviously it's a thing. So anyway, then the other one, S, I went for saddle pad. E, I went for equestrian notebook, which I don't know if I got away with that. Ben was like, you can't go for that. I was like, well, it works. But anyway, so I did win that trend anyway. But no, it was a great time. I had they made, oh my gosh, the Red Post Cafe. If you ever get the chance to go to Red Post in Devon, go to their cafe, because oh my goodness, 10 out of 10. It is incredible. I had a lovely panini for my lunch as well. But anyway, they did a This Esme milkshake. Yes, so each year they kind of do like an on-brand milkshake. So my Red Post top this year was lilac, which it literally matches the new Lumiere lilac perfectly. I did not know that it was going to be that shade when we organised everything, because obviously these things you have to do it in advance and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that was very cool. So they had everything kind of like lilac themed. So they had, wait, I need to get the menu up on my phone because I want to get it correctly. So they had a Toby tray bake, which was very cute. So they had like some little Toby cakes. Where is it? On my phone. Oh no, did I not take? Oh, it was on my dad's phone that I took it. But anyway, they had, I think it was called Casper's Creation, which was the milkshake, which was incredible. So it was like a lilac-y colour as well. And because it had like blueberries in, so it was kind of like a blueberry milkshake, and it had little lilac sprinkles on top, which was incredible. Oh my gosh, I was so full afterwards. Like, I know my days at Red Post, I am never hungry. I think it was it Joey Cupcakes? Oh, I've got the full menu here. So it is the Duke's Picnic Pack. They had Casper's Creation Milkshake. They had Joey Cupcakes and the Toby Tray Bake. So there we go. That was the menu at Red Post. But yeah, that was a busy day. It was a long day. It was very busy in the morning, and then it's got kind of like slowly quieter as the day went on. But they had everything. They had like colouring outside. They had some hobby horsing jumps. They had like the National Wildlife Trust, I think it was, or the one from Devon. They were there because they heard that this Esme meet and greet was going on. They were like, guys, let's turn up. So they rocked up, and apparently the lady there, she signed up a lot of people to the National Wildlife Trust. So woo. Go wildlife in the environment. So that was quite cool. They had loads of little mini games and things. It was like a full-on festival going on there. It was popping off. It was a great day. So yeah, that was really good fun. I also, at Red Post, they look after me very well. As I said before, I had all my food. I even had like a fan as well. I think this is the first ever meet and greet where I've got a fan. So I felt like I was in kind of like it was a very warm day, but felt like this was like a first class meet and greet. I had on tap milkshakes and I had a fan. What more could a girl want? Anyway, so it was such a lovely day. So I just want to say a huge thank you again to Red Post for having me and hosting the meet and greet. It was so much fun. We also had, it was a busy day because I was there from 8 a.m. till like 5:30 in the evening. And then we had like a 4-5 hour car journey on the way home as well. So was a busy day. Also on the way home, my dad was absolutely just like taking the mick out of me for the way I was eating my tacos, because I'd never had Taco Bell before. And that was the only place that we could get food on the way home. We were just like, I was hungry. I was like, okay, we need food. So I went there for the first time, and I didn't realise eating tacos in the car is difficult, and I was like proper eating them, and they were just going everywhere, and I was just so tired, and I had a big sleep on the way home. So anyway, that was my week, and that's what I got up to. So
I didn't appreciate the 3 hours of Animal Crossing music that I had to listen to on the way back.
Oh, okay. So I don't know if you heard that, but we'll have to check the audio levels. But if not, I'll just say what my dad said. So, so on my little car journey home, actually, normally my dad brings his headphones with him because he likes to listen to some sort of like car man, middle-aged like man podcasts, which aren't really for me personally. We're different demographics. He listens to enough of girly pop music and Taylor Swift and that kind of thing that I listen to. But anyway, when I went to sleep, I was like, oh, do you know what I've been really enjoying? As I said before, my little Animal Crossing music. So I put Animal Crossing music on, and because for some reason the music that I listen to, it's actually down as a podcast, which is great because it's not going to affect my Spotify Wrapped. If not, that would be my top song, which is really, really sad. But do you know what happened, which is so funny? Because it's like 3 hours of music. So anyway, I went to sleep, had my long car journey, and do you know what woke me up, which was like an absolute jump scare? My own voice, because obviously it went from music to podcast, and obviously your girl's got to support herself. So obviously I follow my podcast with my private Spotify account. So guys, if you're not already following me on whatever podcast platform you're on, go and do it. I am a rubbish content creator that never does like self-promo stuff like that. So I apologise to myself. I need to be more self-promo. Anyway, so yeah, go and follow me. That'd be brill. 10 out of 10. Thank you very much. Or like rate me 5 stars or like it or whatever it is. Would appreciate it very much. Thank you. But anyway, because obviously I follow myself because you guys got to support herself. What came on straight after listening to my Animal Crossing music, which is technically a podcast, my podcast. So I was like sound asleep, la da da, having a lovely time. And then suddenly it went, Hello everybody and welcome back to my podcast, Esme's Country Life. And I was like, whoa, like in the middle of like a fever dream, I was like, what is happening here? So anyway, because I know a lot of you guys actually sleep or go to sleep listening to my podcast. So there we go. If you're going to sleep right now, I will say good night, because actually I think I will wrap up today's podcast episode there. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you are going to sleep right now, I hope you have some sweet dreams. Anyway, thank you again to Red Post for sponsoring the podcast and for having me. And I'll see you all next time in another episode. Bye.